of the tasks that I have to get done today is to finish fertilizing my hydrangeas that I took from propagation. Taking you all more behind the scenes this year. Like for example, we did a tour in my plant room. Welcome to my plant laboratory. No, you guys, you know I'm just off the chain. And then I also took you guys along with me as we propagated hydrangeas. If you want to start getting into always having plants on hand and bloom when you want them to be in bloom versus when the industry says to have a plant in bloom, then propagation is going to be your best friend. I set back 6 of these. And what I wanted to do is take you all along with me as I fertilize these. Now for the fertilizer here, we're going to be using some fish fertilizer. Now, full disclosure, when I was growing up, my grandmother used to make her own fish emulsion, and I totally swore that I would never do that. I'm like, it has to be another way. Now, I'm using Nana 2.0, and we're going to use some ready-made fish fertilizer. I don't necessarily promote one brand of fish fertilizer over the next. So for me, I say whatever fish fertilizer that you can get your hands on, grab it and use it. Now, the formulation for fish fertilizer is going to be 511. You can use this on your indoor and your outdoor plants. So we'll get in and we'll take a close look at what the composition of the 511 is. So the first number is going to be your nitrogen. The second number is going to be your phosphorus or phosphate. And then the third number is going to be your potassium. We get in and we look at the fertilizer here. First component here is going to be your 5% nitrogen. It's a major component of chlorophyll and it's going to make it essential for photosynthesis. This is going to help push out that green leafy growth. Second component, which is right here, it talks about the availability of phosphate. Now your phosphorus is going to be important for conversion for photosynthesis. It's essential when growing during the winter months. It's also important for flowering. It's important for root development, and it plays a major role in energy. Our last component is going to be the potassium. It again is important for photosynthesis. It regulates or is the key to the stomata, which are all important for transpiration, oxygen, and carbon dioxide. All of those components, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium, every single one of those components are going to be vital for the growth and development of our hydrangeas here. Now, one of the things with your fish fertilizer, you want to make sure you shake this baby well. And when I know that I'm going to be using my fish fertilizer, I shakes it, I bumps it up against stuff, I bump it up against my hand. Because your components will separate. So now what I have here, I have the fish fertilizer, of course, whatever plant you're going to be using. I also have glove because the fish fertilizer is going to put off a smell. So I try to make sure I keep gloves on hand, some throwaway gloves when I am using my fish fertilizer. And then also I have some measurement spoons because we're going to take a measurement. The only thing we're missing now is the water. We have our water here. Now, one of the things, if you're going to be using your fish fertilizer inside, right? Now, typically when I fertilize these, I like to fertilize outside, but since we're pushing these into the growth where they need to be so we can get those beautiful blooms, then I'm doing this on the inside because the temperature of this hydrangea is going to be extremely important right now. So I'm keeping the temperature set. So I'm guarding the temperature. So that's why we're not outside. But in the event that you spill this, whether you're inside or out, you want to use some type of pine-based cleaner. Now, what we want to use is we are going to use 1 quart of water to 1 teaspoon. Now, to break that down, 1 quart of water is equivalent to 4 cups. 4 cups of water is equivalent to 32 ounces. Because I have people that are watching me from different regions of the world. I just broke it down for everybody and we're all on the same page. So I shook it up and I will shake a little bit more. Let me get my gloves and then we're going to get our teaspoon out and we're going to start to measure this up. Now, when you are fertilizing your plants, you want to make sure that you're not fertilizing a dry plant. You want to make sure the plant is well hydrated. So these plants are well watered in. They're well watered. Okay. We're going to take 1 teaspoon. Let me get this open here. Shake it a little bit more. Now, here we go. Go in and start with the first plant, and I'm just going to saturate the soil. And I kind of turn it a bit. It's very important to remember that once you make your fish fertilizer up, you need to use it all in one swoop. Don't set it to the side. Just go ahead and just use it. I like to do my fertilizing days. I fertilize everything on the same exact day. So what I do is I go in, I fertilize my hydrangeas. I move on from the hydrangeas because I have hydrangeas that are in different phases. Because last year, since I did not get any blooms off 2 of my hydrangeas, I eventually ended up getting some hydrangeas later in the season. But in the meantime and in between time, your girl was over here taking propagations. Now, one of the things with propagation you want to remember, if you are dealing with a patented plant, meaning that this plant has a patent on it and you propagate that plant, I definitely would not be selling it. I would be more so giving it to somebody else. And I don't know if I would tell them it was propagated because you just, honey, you know, some folks be litigious, okay? So I want to run and I want to get some cut flowers because I got a bundle of cut flowers, but I need to get some more to go with this arrangement that I'm going to be doing. So I think we're going to make a quick run. We still have a lot more in store, including some beautiful fresh blooming bulbs. Now, if you guys are new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. I love to container garden. Container gardening is my jam, baby. I love it. Honey, I put big, beautiful trees in containers. The things that you think wouldn't go in containers, I'm over here doing it on Garden Queen. But I love to do bulbs in containers. That is one of the things that I have successfully done. Tulips in containers, daffodils, irises, hyacinths, you name it. Your girl has done it in a container since I was a little girl. Yeah, you heard that right, a little girl. Remember when we used to do those projects in the spring when we come in with them cups? I was doing my own projects at home, my own little red solo cup or whatever foam cup I could get my hand on. Your girl was taking her little coins and getting however many bulbs my little money could stretch and get. And I would get my little bulbs. I have been growing tulips in containers for a long time. Okay, I want to get these out of these containers here. For right now, I'm wiping this down with the Clorox, but I am going to come back and I am going to use a pine cleaner. And with the pine cleaner, it's going to get the smell, help assist in getting the smell out of here, because some cleaners will intensify the smell of the fish. So let's go ahead and get some more flowers. Here is the vessel that we are going to be using in order to get this arrangement done. Now, I know you may be thinking like, girl, please, ain't nothing gonna be elegant about this. But once we get this baby all cleaned up and we put it together, it's gonna be absolutely amazing.
Time goes by, yeah, you and I are running out, running out. Time goes by, I've changed my mind about you and I, you and I. So would you stay for a minute so I can be brave? Let me catch my breath. Now I can feel what I'm saying. I'm letting you know this heart's on the edge. You make me feel so much better. Promise to love you forever. That's why I wanna spend my life with you. I wanna grow old with you. 'Cause nobody loves you like I do. That I can promise you, oh promise you. Time goes by, oh precious time. Wait just 1 minute. Time goes by, I think I thought it out, it out. So would you stay for a minute so I can be brave? Let me catch my breath. Now I can feel what I'm saying. I'm letting you know my heart's on the edge. 'Cause I wanna spend my life with you. I wanna grow old with you. But nobody.
I am trying to wiggle out this snapdragon right here because I think I want to change the position of it. This snapdragon needs to be a little bit shorter, just a little bit. Just a little bit. So I want it to be in the same position, just a little bit shorter. Like that, right? Then my roses, I'm gonna swap this rose. Actually, I'm not. I'm just gonna pull this rose up a bit. And I am gonna start just filling in with a little bit more fluff with our leaves. Do you see how that makes a difference? I start to add more greenery here. It's going to give us a little bit more fluff, and it's going to kind of make the bouquet feel bigger. When I get my stems, I like to try to get stems that has more than one branch versus a single stem. Now I can take this, I can use it as one, or I can use it as three. So in this case, I am going to use this as three. All right, here we are. Now let me show you how it fits into the base here. It to be very much romantic. I wanted it to be very much a nod to spring. I wanted it to be very much all the things that I'm feeling like I need in my home right now. One of the things to keep in mind when you do these type of arrangements, play with the balance a little bit, play with the flow. But because the neck of my vase that I'm using here has a tight lip, I was very limited to what type of flowers I can use. Do have status in here. The status, you want to make sure you go in, and you could take a potato peeler, you can take a knife. I like to just take my shears and I take off the excess foliage around the base of the status, and then you're able to use those, just give it another cut. Some of my snapdragons were a little bit rotted, so I had to throw some of those away. Some of my stems were broken, so I wasn't able to utilize all of my snapdragons. When I went and picked out the flowers, it was very much slim pickings. When I pick out flowers for arranging, I like to kind of get in there in the earlier part of the day versus after the afternoon rush where people have came in, got their florals for the day, stopped in on their lunch break, whatever have you, and got whatever florals to grace the table or whatever in their home. Pickings were very slim, but I knew that I needed this snapdragon here with this specific colorway because it's going to complement another arrangement. It's very specific on what I needed, colors I was looking for. We're gonna head in because I want to do a little bit of January seed starting. So let's grab our beautiful arrangement here and let's head in. Going to be starting some stock seeds. Now I already have some soil blocks here. I've done videos in the past about how I do my soil blocks. What I'm doing now is we're going to go in and we are going to water in these soil blocks so that way they can be moist and start to crack open that seed and get them ready for germination. First round has already soaked in. but they're not quite soaked enough. So we're going to go in and we are going to add a little bit more water to the soil blocks here. And I try not to pour my water too close to my soil block because you don't want the soil block to break down. While we wait on the soil blocks to soak up the moisture, because I don't want to sow my seeds on soil blocks that are dry. So what I like to do is I like to take my soil blocks and I make them all at one time, and I sprinkle a little bit of vermiculite on the top of them. That way, if I need to plant them up, they're ready. While this is soaking in, let's head to another area and we're going to do a beautiful arrangement. Here are the tulips that we're going to get potted up, and let's go grab the container really quick. I think this container right here, let me move this out of here. I think this will be perfect. You guys, look at the detailing on this. It's just absolutely amazing. We have the fleur-de-lis. It's very heavy iron, and I love this. Just look at that. I mean, it's heavy, like heavy. And it does have 2 drain holes on the bottom of it. I'm not sure who makes this container, but I totally feel like this would be perfect for what we need it to do. Let's go plant up. I think this container right here will be great. In the bottom of this container, I am going to go in and put a little bit of window screen in the bottom of it to prevent the drain holes from being clogged up, because the drain holes aren't that big. Can you see them right here? Here are the drain holes right here. So this one and this one. So to make sure that we continue to get good drainage, what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we are going to add a little bit of wire screen over the top of these, just like this. We are going to be taking these large pots of forced tulips. They could potentially fit on the inside, but we're going to have to do a little bit of rewiring for one and or both. Have this container here, this little mat. So we're going to pull the tulips out, and the roots look absolutely amazing. I'm not going to worry about trying to tickle the roots or anything. And I'm going to just start popping these inside of here. Okay. So this one fits in good. And it might topple over a little bit until I get this one situated the way it needs to be. So let me pop this one out. And I'm just going to squeeze this down on the inside. Okay, just like that. Now, okay, any excess, I'm going to just get off of it now. And I'm pushing down, pushing down. Ooh, it's heavy. A little bit of pinpoint watering just to settle in the soil here. We'll start working in our pieces of moss. I like to come in and I like to use both sides of the moss, both the brown side as well as the green side here. So I'm just coming in and I'm just adding the moss in there, all in between the tulips. It's going to look absolutely gorgeous once we get done. moist soil blocks, they should look like brownies, like small little brownies, but don't eat them, okay? And I call them my garden brownies. But let me show you what they look like up close. See the difference on the soil blocks here? How before they were really looking dry, now they look moist, but we are going to add just a bit more water to this. We'll add more water, just a little bit more, not too much, because I want to make sure that I can go ahead and crack that seed real fast. I'm going to be starting some stock from seed, and so with your stock, it's going to take about 7 to 10 days to germinate, and you want to keep the temperatures between 60 to 65 degrees. I will put them on a heat mat, but typically what I like to do is put them on a heat mat but elevate them some, and sometimes I'll pop them right on top of the heat mat. It just all depends on how I feel and where I have space on the heat mat. So let's go ahead and get our seeds inside of here. And I'll show you all what the seeds look like. Went and grabbed some water really quick because I like to use a toothpick. I take the toothpick and I snatch out the seed. And it goes by so quick. Just a small mist on top of the soil blocks just to lock everything in place. So I'm just pouring off the excess water. All right. Everything that you need to know about your seeds are going to be on the back of the seed packet. It's going to be your best friend. It's telling us on the back of the seed packet 7 to 14 days germination from 65 to 75 degrees. I like to keep mine on the 65, degree side. Though it's saying to sow these 5 to 6 weeks before. If we wait to then to sow our seeds, the stock is not going to be the way that I need them to be. They're not going to be the size that I need them to be. And preferably, I really should have and could have started these in the fall. So I'm just going to do a real light dusting of vermiculite here. Just really light. Just lightly, just mist these. Just a little bit, not too much. What I like to do, since I'm starting these in soil blocks, I take a baggie and I put a baggie over the top of these. Oh, take my plastic bag, and these are the large jumbo bags. I want to prepare my sweet peas. Sweet peas, you want to soak them for about 24 hours. I want to prep my sweet peas. That way I can go ahead and get my sweet peas planted up. I have some liquid seaweed here, and we're going to get this opened up. So I'm going to take my container, just a little glass container, and I am going to put just a small little bitty dabble of this liquid seaweed fertilizer. Okay, just a little bit here. Can you guys see that? The liquid seaweed fertilizer. We're going to pour a little bit of water in here. Take our sweet peas and we are going to just soak them inside of our liquid seaweed fertilizer here. Right off the bat, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plants that's floating on top of here. But here we are. We're just going to let these just soak in. And then within 24 hours, we're going to get them out of this solution. And we are going to plant these up. Have I planted them without pre-soaking them before? Yes. I've even sometimes when I didn't have time, I've let them soak for about 5 to 6 hours and still had success with them. For the 7 seeds that aren't any good, I am going to be taking those out because they're just floating on top of the water. All right, let's get these on the heat mat. Our mat set up, and then I do have a thermostat on this. So before I pop my seedlings on there, I am going to go down a little bit on the thermostat to make sure I have the optimal temperatures in order to get this where we need it at. Okay, so let's go down a little bit more. Then this is what I like to put inside of my germination chamber. This is our temperature gauge. So hanging down, this is how it hangs, so I know this one is connected to this mat right here. I'll take this thermometer and I'll just put it on the inside here, and I'm more so concerned with the temperature inside of the bag.